Yo, my sound is messing up. Hold on, bro.
You good? You good?
Okay. All right. We good.
All right.
No, my
So
computer decided to be an asshole.
it's good, bro. I ain't worried about it. It's good. I appreciate you tapping in.
For
Um.
sure.
What was I gonna say? So Fred, my co-host, randomly had some stuff happen. He's not gonna be with us. It's just gonna be me and you.
All
Number
right.
one. Number two. Normally, what we do is we record it on Monday, and then I upload it to go live on Wednesday. Your episode, I plan on banking.
All right.
So I gotta go down. I gotta go down to Memphis at sometime in the next month. I don't know exactly when I'm going, but I gotta go down there sometime in the next month. Um, so I want to have a couple episodes just in the bank, so that way when I'm gone, I ain't gotta worry about it. Upload it, handle
Yeah.
business while I'm with the family. So, um, and like I said, from there it's just a freestyle.
For
So
sure.
I've never done an episode without a co-host, so this is gonna be a real freestyle. You ready?
It's always something, man. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Welcome to What's Happening. I'm Brad. Normally you would hear somebody say I'm Fred, but Fred is not able to make it today, so it's a little bit of a different episode of What's Happening. And we are joined, well, I am joined today by Mr. Joseph Credit. Joseph Credit is a lot, an actor, a wrestler. You got a lot going on. How you doing, bro? What's happening with
Now,
you?
I'm good, man. I'm good, bro. Like about to throw this computer out the wall, out the window, but other than that, see, look, it's still messing with me, bro. How
Oh
you
man,
living, bro?
I got no complaints. I got no complaints. You sound good on my end. You look good on my end. It's all
Hey,
good. So I'm not even worried about it in the slightest. Um, but yeah, man, I wanted to bring you on the show and talk about your life and what you do and what led you down to that path and um, everything we do here is freestyle. So like I said to you, I think earlier today, I don't have any questions prepared. The
yeah.
questions and the conversation will flow the way that it flows. And so with that said, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take it away. Tell the people who you are and what you do.
Yeah, man. My name is Joseph Ira Credit. I am what I would consider a jack of all trades. What more people might know me from is being a professional wrestler. I previously have gone by name Cassidy Keith. Recently gone through a bit of a upgrade or evolution, I guess you can say. Became a little bit more of myself. So now I'm going by my government name, the name my mama gave me, as I like to say. So so basically, man, we just been out here, especially now that COVID's slowing down, just out here getting back on the road, man.
So our consistent listeners will know that I'm a wrestling fan. And they're gonna be
Yes,
like,
sir.
"Oh, that's why you brought him on the show, Bradley. We see what you're doing." And I'm gonna say to you, you know what? You damn Skippy. That's exactly why I did it. But no, man. I think, um, well, not I think, I would love to get a real peek behind the curtains of
Hmm.
what that independent scene looks like. The how's your health,
Yes.
um, all of that, man. So, what got you? I mean, listen. All right, let's peel the covers back. I've been a wrestling fan. I've been liking it all my life, but I actually didn't get into it to really enjoy it and watch it on my own. My father was always a big fan, but I didn't
Yep.
really begin to watch it on my own until mid 2000s. Actually, no, the middle of the year 2000. I'm sorry. The Rock was champion, and The Rock being champion as a babyface with a long title reign is what got me interested.
Yeah,
So,
man.
but that said, I never had the battery in my back ever to go and do it. Vince McMahon on that commercial said, "Don't try this at home," and I was like, "Okay, I'm not doing it."
Is that cool?
Yeah, I'll stick with the video games. So, what made you? I'm assuming you're a lifelong fan.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my very first memory in life is watching the Undertaker cut a promo, bro. Like I
Okay.
can't remember nothing. I remember literally being in my like childhood home under the table, scared as hell because I just knew this dude was gonna kill me or something. Like, like my dad definitely got me into wrestling. He's to this day he's like a gigantic wrestling fan. Like if anyone knew my dad, you wouldn't
Mm.
hardcore Douglas. Always has loved wrestling, and he got my brother and I into it. And I was man, okay, so one of those things pull back behind the curtain, as you were saying. As I say this, it used to be frowned upon that we talk about our past as not professional. It used to be something that you're not, it's taboo. You're not supposed to talk about if you used to wrestle in the backyard when you were a kid, shit like that. Because they would say things like, um, they would say things like, that doesn't make you come off as a professional, so don't talk about it. Didn't happen. But recently in this new era of wrestling, like I call it the Young Bucks era because it is what it is. Um, the curtain's been peeled back. Kayfabe is dead and gone. So a lot of the cats nowadays, you see them on social media talking. You see them just, posting old pictures before they got signed and stuff like that. And it's a lot like that. So like my entire life, I've been like some sort of like I remember getting talked by my older brother and my cousins when I was like 7 or 8, like in the yard. And then like when I was like I did like I knew I was gonna be a wrestler though, bro. Like everything I did kind of like tailored towards it. Like I remember like even as much as like going like at a store, right? Say you're in the regular building and you got the what's it called? The wheelchair ramp. I'll go down the wheelchair
Yeah.
ramp like it was the
Like
like
it's
it
a
was like I
wrestler
was
rap.
wrestling. Yeah. Like that was me, bro. Like I knew I was gonna do this. So like when I was in high school, I did like amateur wrestling and I was cool and all, but it wasn't I wanted to be a professional wrestler. You know what I'm saying? So um it kind of just happened out of nowhere. Like, I guess everything happens for a reason, but for me at least, kind of happened out of nowhere, man. Like I was just, playing with my boys in the back, pause. Um yeah, we were backyard and whatever. I was like 17. Um and we're just messing around, and dude contacted us on MySpace. Let's age myself.
Oh man, you
And
aged both of us on that one.
I'm telling you, right? And he was like, "Hey, y'all ever thought about getting in the ring?" He's like, "It's not professional, but I got a ring." I was like, "Yeah," you know what I'm saying? So we learned how to not die. That was not wrestling training. We learned how to not die. Um, and they had it in their head. They're like, we're having fun doing what we want to do, but this is a hobby. This is never going to be any more than a hobby. I was like, fuck that. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I curse, bro? Like,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
okay.
you can say whatever you need to say.
Now, like a sailor, bro. Uh, but yeah, like, I was like, nah, bro. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm not trying to hear the hobby shit. Like, nah. And when I went to actually start pursuing it, they, you know, all of them, almost all of them, stopped talking. And I don't want to say it was jealousy because it wasn't. I don't know if it was. I think it was more resentment than jealousy. Um,
You said like your friends stopped talking to you?
yeah, like like the people I used to backyard wrestle with, and
Mm.
like I said, there's a couple of them who like we've reconciled since then, because everybody being young, I was like, well, fuck me, fuck you, like what I'm saying. But growing up and experiencing life has taught me to forgive and forget. Life is way too short for that petty shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, so I just kind of told myself I was gonna make it and I was gonna do it by any means necessary. And boy, was some of these means ridiculous. So
No, man, that's dope. I mean, it's it's interesting that you say that at least temporarily you lost some friends behind it.
Yeah.
And I think that you see that a lot in all sorts of walks of life, not necessarily even just entertainment, so to speak, but you and somebody else are achieving goals, or you're chasing your goals, and somebody sees you going after yours and they're not quite in the spot that they want to be
Yeah.
going for theirs. It may not necessarily even be the same goal, so to
Yeah.
speak, but you know you start to learn who your real friends are when
Hmm.
you're doing when how life is going. I have this one friend, um, and the relationship definitely isn't as close as it used to be. And what happened was, we were first friend when we were first, kind of got together. We were friends. This guy was just, I mean, like I'm a jokester, he's a jokester. Um, I mean, but listen, like he's a good-looking guy. He's thin, tall, all sorts of stuff, right? And you know, there was a point in my life in late pretty much 2009 through 2010, my
Yeah.
life was pretty rough. It was pretty rough with a lot of different things that were going on, and he was definitely like the homie that had my back. You know what I'm saying? But like I've learned that like when the way that people have your back makes a difference. So
Yeah.
this was the guy that had my back. Was like, oh yeah, we're gonna get some food. Yeah, I got you. I got you on your Big Mac and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And not saying I'm not saying that's nothing. Like I'm not appreciative of that. I certainly am appreciative of that. But as I started to get my stuff together, I started noticing I was getting sneak dissed,
Hmm.
and I started noticing that relationship wasn't the same. And it even got to the point where I was at a better spot, and I'm being like, I'm not trying to put no names out there, but like it got to a point where I was at a better spot, and this guy, he's kind of going through it. Life's kind of handed it to him, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, like let me help you out with this, and it was just like, nah, and it always just felt like it, and maybe this wasn't what it was, but it always just felt like you know it was one of those friends where it's like, you my dog when you up under me, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
I
that's a
had a
long way the
couple
way.
like that.
Yeah, it's a long way the way to say I can relate to that, and I think we all can to some degree.
Yeah. Absolutely,
So
bro.
man, let's you know, hey, wrestling is scripted in the terms of the results and in the terms of how the matches flow. We all know that, but stuff can happen.
I can even say sometimes on that, like as far as like the structure of a match. Like a lot of times we would as an old school call it walk and talk.
Okay.
Like
Yep.
most of WWE walks and talks now. There was a time where I got friends in both companies, so it's hard for me to say certain things,
Okay.
but I don't give a fuck. So um
It's hard for me to say it, but I'm gonna say
in
it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. In AEW, it's they have a lot of issues as far as like their production, so they plan a lot of their stuff out, and you can tell because like if somebody fucks up, they're kind of just like, "What do we do now?"
Mm,
Yeah, but if you're walking and talking and you fuck up, won't nobody know it because y'all didn't plan on it. Y'all was just talking to each other in the ring while you doing what you do.
exactly. Exactly. 100%. So, but what I was gonna ask is, talk about some of the times where things have gone wrong. Yeah, I'm sure you've had some injuries. I'm sure it's been some long nights.
Yeah, yeah. Um, to be transparent, I would say that in ring injuries very few and far between for me.
Okay.
Very now outside of it, stuff like body hurting, and then like like I got gout really early from it. Um,
Wow.
yeah, like I was like 19 or 20.
Whoa.
Yeah, my doctor was like, I've never seen a person as young with gout before. And I was like, well, that's what happens when you got genetic disposition for it and you wrestle with no shoes on. So I accelerated it.
Wrestle with no shoes on. We're gonna go back to that.
yeah, that's
We'll
a
go
whole
back to
thing.
that. Yeah.
That's a whole thing. But yeah, man, I have had all kinds of stuff happen. Like just in wrestling, just shit happens, and then like you don't figure it out. Like I could think of a few times where like I remember a ladder match I was in. It was like a 30-foot ladder we were on. Before the match started, I separated my knee.
Hmm.
Like 2 minutes like before the match started, we did like a beat down angle where they like beat me up. Cause like one of my things is like I'm a storyteller. I love to make people think in there. Like I'm not just a move guy. Like I love to convey emotion and things like that. And it was a beat down so I can work from under, which basically, means like I was the underdog, even though I was a bigger guy. One of the dudes beat me up was brand spanking new. He still wrestles today, but he was brand new at the time. Um, the way he like got like he went to like do something, it was just really awkward, and like the tendon tore off of my knee, and I knew it.
Whoa.
Like I knew it, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna like not wrestle. Like I'm in the main event for a title. Um, so we had the match planned because with a lot of gimmick matches like ladder matches, you kind of got to plan a lot of it,
Yeah.
because you want to know where you're ending up. You can't just on the fly some shit. You can, but it's not that beneficial. Um, but yeah, like I ended up going 20 minutes with one knee, and I had like this dumb spot because adrenaline was flowing. I was young and dumb, and we were on like I said, it was like a 30-foot ladder. I picked dude up on my shoulders, climbed up the ladder with him on my shoulders on one knee, and Simone dropped him off the top of the ladder. And I remember like me now, you couldn't pay me to do some shit like that, bro. But like, your priorities are different when you're young. You care more about the holy shits and the oh my gods and match of the night when it's like, now it's just for me. It's about being remembered. It's about the legacy. It's about people like going out there and seeing me and wanting to come back specifically for me. Putting those asses in those seats matter to me. They don't for a lot of guys what they do for me.
So how you talk about putting butts in seats?
Mm.
How does that work as an independent? Because well, most people who aren't wrestling fans, or maybe who are but not necessarily in tune on the business side, they just like to watch what's on TV. They think WWE, right, and they think, okay,
Yeah.
these guys work for WWE, and they show up to the TV shows and to the pay-per-views when they're told to show up. They do what they're told to do, and then they go home. I know to a greater degree
Mm-hmm.
that it's not like that exactly with the WWE, but on the independent scene, how does that work for you? Is there one organization that you work for? Do you work for whoever's paying the most? Like, how does that work?
Um, it's a little bit of everything. Everybody has their quote unquote home fed. Um, you know, where they hang their hat. You can go see them anytime there's a show. To be totally real, I don't really have that right now.
Okay,
I have one that's pretty much like home. I'll say it's a Mega Championship Wrestling. It's out of Cleveland area.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, man, I can't say enough good things about Mega Championship Wrestling. Like, Jeff Trexler is the promoter, and Brandon Xavier is the booker, and they they do something that a lot of indies don't really do. Like they train and build up their own homegrown talent. Um, I'm one of maybe three or four people who aren't like freshly trained from them. Like they build their entire company around these kids, and I love giving back like that. That's something that's always been important to me personally. Um, but yeah, as far I digress apparently.
All good. That's what we do.
Yeah. So as far as like the wrestling indies, it's basically first come first serve. Like, I have a calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it does not exist to me. I'm like, we could talk about it. I could be like, yeah, I'm coming. If I don't write it down, don't expect me, bro.
So be
You know what I'm saying? So, um, usually the better feds like to book you out a couple months in advance so you can promote it, let them know that you're coming out, do some promo work, whatever need be. Otherwise, just showing up, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, I always feel like it's such a waste because I don't really wrestle locally. I wrestle. I work in a couple places now because the pandemic slowed us down, so we decided to come back local. I wrestle with BCWA. They're in like Wyandotte, something like that, Southgate area, like downriver.
okay.
Um, they've been going since before I started, and they just started back up a couple years ago. Um, you might catch me at wrestling. They have shows. A lot of shows are downriver these days. I guess probably because the maybe it's cheaper. I don't know, man. But I don't. There aren't really many wrestling feds that's actually wrestling in the city of Detroit, and not and when I say not many, I mean maybe one, maybe two.
Okay.
You know,
And
XICW does sometimes.
you're talking about outside of when WWE or when
Yeah,
AEW come to town. You're talking about
yeah,
independent guys,
absolutely.
or smaller promotions that people don't see on their TV screen.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as the signed, roster and stuff like that, it's just like even they don't like go to every show anymore. Like it's not like it used to be where you're doing, 300 days out. Like they let them know. They'll be like, all right, we got you booked for this show, and this show. So you got to show up for these dates. Like you don't be like every talent isn't at every show anymore. Like just in quote unquote catering, they don't really do that anymore.
Got you. Okay. Okay. So if you don't necessarily have to work, what you're saying is, or at least what I'm hearing you say is, but you might work for one particular organization maybe 3 or 4 times out of the year, depending on what they've got going on.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of them where I'll do like maybe one shots. Like I'll wrestle like once like one big show a year or something like that. That make bring me in one or two. It depends. It's really about, like I said, it's about the story and it's about the moments.
Okay.
So, like I definitely have gotten to the point now. I've been wrestling like since I was 18. So it's been about Jesus, like 16 years, something like that. So I don't really wrestle just to get in the ring anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I know a lot of young cats are like, man, I'm just trying to get in this ring. I'm trying to work. It's gotta matter because I be hurting these days.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So like I'm definitely more choosy about where I work. I used to work 2, 3 times a week every week. Like I was never at home. Like I was making enough on the road in the independence that I didn't like I had to have a job because insurance, but like I didn't need one.
Okay.
Um and I chose to slow down because like I said, if it don't matter, like why am I breaking my back over it? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? That's something that comes later in your career, hopefully, if you get to that point where because it's just like I love what I do is more fun than anything in the world, bro. But realistically, how long do I have to do what I do? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So every time I get in that ring, there's one less time that I'm gonna get in that ring in the future. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's really something that if you are thinking the long game, thinking longevity, is something that has to run through your mind at some point.
So you said you had to get a job, and then you said, well, insurance.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's
What does that look like?
listen. So first of all, one of my biggest pet peeves, like I try to tell all the young kids that come around and wrestling, um, straight up, like this is something that you need to do. You need to get insurance. You need to think about your body and like the holy shits and the oh my god, that's cool and all, but oh my god's not paying this hospital bill because you just decided to go through a glass table. You feel me? Like I know many deathmatch wrestlers who I got nothing but respect for them, but a good friend of mine just got hurt and he couldn't pay his bills. Like,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, get you a job. Like this wrestling shit, like you're not gonna get no extra kudos just because you're a full-time wrestler. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do what you gotta do, bro. Take care of yourself, take care of your body so you can keep doing it. You feel me? Um, and basically that's it. Like I've always done tech support. I've always been like a computer savvy person, and especially with wrestling and getting gout. I used to be a chef actually. Um, could do it for two reasons. One, way too long hours. Like I need regulation in my life. I gotta have a 9 to 5 from 7:30 in the morning to 3:30. You know where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
I
just
dig
how
it.
I am. I cannot. I've never been a fan of. Oh well, I'm working 10 to 2 today, and then I gotta work 2 to 10 tomorrow. Then I gotta be back in there, bitch, at 8 o'clock in the morning. Nah, bro. Like
I
I
dig
don't
it.
deal with it. I
Yeah,
can't. I
man.
can't. I can't. So, like, I went in for tech support. And I'm pretty decent at it, and it allots me to still work whenever I want to work. I got my weekends. I have, I work from home. Like I love, like, man, working from home during this era with gas costing so much is everything.
I
You
have a
know?
job, my full time job. I drive around, so
Yeah,
I can understand where you're coming from
yeah. We call them our Clark Kent jobs.
there. So man, that insurance piece that you talked about is just it's so it's just so revealing how you're saying to like younger people, you're like, hey, get this in order now, because I
Yeah,
gotta imagine that many of the young people that you run into, they're like, well, this is a stepping stone. Like, I'm gonna make it to AEW, I'm gonna make it to WWE, I'm gonna make it to New Japan,
yeah,
something like that. And
yeah.
I mean, and I would have to imagine that at one point you were saying the same things.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Um, I always felt like okay, so whenever anybody would ask me, they're like realistically, because for the better part of 10 years, my younger brother and I were tagging. We tag team as the Spirit of Detroit, and we were traveling everywhere, man. Like we were blessed enough to travel all over the country. We wrestled in Jamaica once.
Wow.
We've done some damn decent stuff, man. Wrestling with legends and stuff like that, and uh, it's somebody would ever they'd ask us, it's like, well, realistically, how close do you feel like you are to being signed? Are you ready if it happens? And the answer that I always give, I'm like, the difference between me and a signed person is I wasn't in front of the right crowd. Like,
Wow, that's a bar.
you know what I'm saying? Like real talk. Like it's something that that happens, especially in the indies. It's like it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yes.
And, you know, no disrespect to a lot of people. I'm not gonna say everybody because it's gonna be disrespectful to somebody.
Come
I don't
on.
kiss enough ass to make it. You feel me?
Okay.
Like I'm not at that level, and I'm not saying that everybody does it. That's not true whatsoever. I'm
I know
just
what you're
saying
saying.
that quite a few had that. Um, and it's just like I've always been a keep it 100 type of person, bro. And especially when I was younger, it rubbed people the wrong way because I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, this wrestling shit is cool, but I'm a grown ass man first. Like, you're not gonna talk to me like a bitch. I don't care if I'm new or not.
Mm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm grown in these streets, bro. And I was, like I said, I was 18 when I started. I'm only 34 now, but you know, I feel like an old man. And it's it's something that as far as getting signed, I did the research. Like when I was in college, there was a statistic that I put in one of my theses because of course everything is wrestling, even in college. Um, it's easier to get into the NFL and the NBA than it is to get signed by the WWE. Like at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. Like think about okay, every major city in this country, not state, every major city has a wrestling federation. I don't give a fuck
Okay.
where you think of any city. Look it up. I promise you there's wrestling there.
Okay.
There's maybe 20 people on any given roster.
Okay.
Say maybe half of them travel because most of them are what in wrestling we call 50 milers. They don't really go far. Um, then you got people like myself and my brother, they call the journeymen, who travel everywhere. I have seen wrestlers who I would see 10 years ago, and then I would see them at another show. I'd never even thought about them again because there's so much wrestling out here. They can have a whole career, and I will never even see them. So I say that to say that
Ooh.
there's so many indie wrestlers, and there's 40 spots in WWE. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And how many spots are they opening up for new people? Like NXT is irrelevant because it's like we're talking like big time here. So like we're talking like WWE, Raw, SmackDown. They let maybe 3 new people a year on the roster after WrestleMania.
Okay.
You feel me? So it's highly improbable for people to get to that level without some sort of help. And which is fine. You do it how you want to do it. But I always felt like if it was going to happen for me, it needed to be organically. It needed to be because somebody saw me and wanted me. Like I wasn't going to kiss my ass to a contract. It's not that important to me. And I say that um, because when people always ask, "What are your goals for wrestling?" You know, obviously everybody wants that WrestleMania moment, right?
Right.
But like, it's not. It was never something that was like I don't want to say realistic. It's something that was never, drop everything important for. Like I just knew I was gonna be a wrestler. Like that's all I wanted to be.
Okay.
So um like I said, when that dude told me this is only gonna be a hobby for us, this is never gonna get past that. Fuck that. So my goal was to become
Mm.
a professional wrestler, travel, make money, and for somebody to pay me to do what I want to do. It wasn't even about making a lot of money. I make decent money. I'm not gonna lie, but it's more along the lines of I see what you're doing and I want to pay you and bring you to my company because I like what you're doing. I fuck with your vision. That's what matters to me. So in my mind, I did make it. I'm doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, in a way, yeah,
I.
absolutely, I would want to be signed. But if I don't, I'm not gonna cry about it.
You know what's so funny? I can, in a very small sense, I can relate. So I used to be I worked in the cell phone business for a long time. I was a district manager for a Verizon retailer. I've never
Mm-hmm.
worked for corporate, and I remember people used to always ask like, man, have you ever thought about trying to go work for the corporate stores? And I'd just be like, nah. Like, I absolutely don't want to work there at all. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good with it. I want to pull out this question. Says, have you thought of hiring a PR manager, and is it worth it to get in front of the right crowd for you?
I did think about it once. It almost happened, but like the problem with professional wrestling is most of the shit is a scam. And I say that in the best way because, obviously professional wrestling started from the carnivals. So that's why they always call it carnies. Um, so it's always some dude trying to work the boys instead of work the crowd. So I'm always a little weary when something new comes up and some dude's like, hey, these are the people that I've helped out. I've helped out this person. I've helped out that person. I've helped out that person. I can help you too for a fee. And I'm like, I think I just rather you want to help me. And
Yeah.
as I get to, I'm like, I don't mind paying someone, but like, I would rather pay someone on a commission than a monthly. You feel me?
Yep.
Like, if you're not doing nothing
Go
for
to
me,
work.
why am I paying you? So you get paid when I get paid. So
Yep.
if that situation ever happened, absolutely, hell yeah, bring it. Like I said, if I didn't write it down, it didn't happen. So if I got somebody to handle that for me, absolutely.
Wow. No, that's dope.
So if it happens, yeah, for sure. But but like I said, man, it's not something that is, I don't want to say it's not normal, but like in the indies, is mostly handshake deals.
Okay.
So
I got it. That makes sense. Um, man, so there's just so many different ways I could go from there, man. Because I mean, you got me captivated. You've talked about how you try to talk to the young heads and say, hey, get this under control now. You never know, and it just
yeah,
reminds me of so many times where because I'm 36, so
yeah,
I'm the same like you. I'm not old, but I feel old.
yeah,
and, and and I find myself having the same conversations with people younger than me
hmm,
that people had when I was young, and I didn't get it. Now I also think that, and we've talked about that on some past episodes of this podcast, but I also think that, like, I'll use my grandmother for example. My grandmother would always say, "Save your money, baby. Save your money, baby. You never know when you might need to call grandmother. You might need to have 35
hmm,
cents. This is how long ago this conversation was had. You might need to have 35 cents in your pocket so you can call me on the payphone if you need to,
right,
right? But, you
right,
know, that's just like an example. But, now I find myself, talking to my daughter. A couple weeks ago, she and I went out to lunch, my oldest daughter, and I'm like, what are you thinking you want to do? And she's like, I really think I want to be an actor. And I'm like, okay, so what does that mean, right? I'm thinking, when I was in her age, or when I was at her point, when I was 13, if somebody would have asked me, and I would have said be an actor, I'd be like, oh yeah, well you can do it. Just pray about it and believe in the Lord. And not saying that that's not I'm saying that that's bad advice, but I'm like,
yeah.
there's more to it than that, right?
It's
So when my
it's
daughter
not
says,
realistic.
right, when
It's
my
it's,
daughter
just, it's a
says,
good part of it.
yeah, yeah. So when my daughter says that it's that she wants to be an actor, I'm like, what does that mean? And well, she's like, okay, so I'm going to get involved in this program this year. I'm pretty sure that the high school, because she's going to 8th grade, so she's like, I'm pretty sure that the high school next year that I'm going to is going to have this. I'm like, okay, you need to look into that. You need to
Hmm.
figure out what's going on there. And I'm like, okay, what's the plan after that? She's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, okay, you don't have to have a plan today. You're only 13,
Yeah,
but we're gonna be talking about it
yeah,
more and more, right? Let's put
yeah.
finite details and let's start mapping out a plan. So I appreciate you saying to even to the younger wrestlers, hey, do that, and here's why you need to do that. Because while I would love to see you with the big gold at the end of the night with the confetti coming down at WrestleMania,
Yeah,
chances are incredibly high that that's not going to happen.
absolutely.
All right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's the problem is like there's not enough realists in the world as far as the world of professional wrestling. And I
So
always say
say that quote again.
it's not enough realism, bro. It's not. There's no realism. I always say too many Beyonces, not enough Michelle and Kelly's.
Okay.
And you got to understand one of the most famous quotes in all of professional wrestling, bro. Know your role. That on everything I love, that means something. It really does because, um, like I said, being a young cat, I've done it. Like I've gone out. My brother and I used to be like, all right, well, we know we're good. We know we finna get signed. So this is when we were traveling. Like I said, 3 or 4 times a week, every week, different states, never in Michigan. Like we were just going, 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 and we were like, we know we to go. So like we about to come out there and do a match of the night. We the first show or we the first match. Cool. The main event is the first match then. Like, and that's a good mentality to have. But as an older guy who's been in the business long enough, it's like now it's like, no, the main event is the main event. Like it's your job to get yourself over, get your opponent over, and have a great match. But you out there completely like, and I say this with a grain of salt because you have to be able to respect the hierarchy for where you're at, especially when you're a journeyman. Like if I'm not on their regular roster, um, I'm not going to try to outshine their champion because it's a respect thing. Like even if I can have match of the night, sometimes my role is to hype everybody up to get for that main event. Now, and I say that, like I said, with a grain of salt because sometimes, let's be real, some people don't need to be in the main event. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of gotta find that good footing, I guess you could say, because um, there are parts where you want to be a part of the show. You have to help elevate it, and then it's to the point where you're like being a detriment. You know what I'm saying? So like it definitely, like there's many times where like a lot of people don't fuck with my brother and I because that's how we were. Like we were just like, we don't care about your match. Like if you feel like you should be main event, then be better than us. And it's like I said, at one point it's like, yeah, he not wrong. but
Wow.
at the other end it's like, bro, from a respectful point, like standpoint, like unless somebody's like outwardly trying to stifle what you do, there's nothing wrong with being a part of a concert instead of trying to overshadow the headliner.
So, it's interesting that you say that because, you know, again, the listeners know I'm a wrestling fan. I
Yeah.
listen to a lot of podcasts. One of the podcasts I listen to is Grill and JR, Jim Ross. And he talks a lot about how those guys in the Attitude Era were all trying to push and outdo each other.
Yeah.
Everybody was trying to have the best match on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard, other guys, I've heard, Kurt Angle talk about how, in the early 2000s, after they did the draft split, the guys on SmackDown were trying to put on the best show possible, and they were trying to beat the hell out of Raw week
Yeah.
after week after week.
And they were.
It's so it's kind of mind blowing to hear these industry megastars and mega personalities say that this was the way that it was in the hottest era in the history of the business. And I'm hearing you talk
Mm-hmm.
about independent local guys say, "Nah, you gotta tone it down because I gotta be the hottest. I gotta be the hottest act tonight. Ain't nobody came to see you, Otis. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like it all comes down to asses and seats. Who puts the most asses in the seats? That's who should be the main event. Flat out. We're talking business here. So I've seen it happen. It literally just happened at a show. When my boys wrestle locally, I try to make it as much as possible and just be a fan. Right.
right,
So um Like shouts out to Lance Starr. That's one of my dudes, and like he is one of the most purest wrestlers you will ever see in your life, dog. Macho Man meets Ricky Steamboat wrapped up in HBK. My dude is chef's kiss, right?
Okay.
Um, and whenever he likes to work, I think he's working this weekend. Actually, I think it's this weekend. It might have been last weekend. I can't remember, but it was at Lance Cruise North. They run the show there. Um,
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Not far from
so
me.
yeah, they run a show. It's I can't remember the name of it, but I'll send you their info. Like they run a good show. Um, but basically he wasn't at this show. It was at another show he did on the West Side, and he had asses and seats. He had maybe 30, 40, 50 people there for him. Now in the indies, that's a lot. Like most indies, if you pull in 200 people, you doing decent. Like,
Okay.
which is crazy because like the Ross sells out 15,000 people in Detroit, but you can only get 200 people in the indies. That's a whole other situation that I feel like if we regulated ourselves better, we would be selling out the Kobo like they used to in the 70s, but whatever. Um so excuse me. So um he was they put him in pre-main, I think, or two before main. No, it was pre-main. Um they put him in pre-main and he had, like I said, 40, 50 people waiting for him. Friends and family, whatever, but they were there for him. I was like, why they ain't put you in the main event? I don't know. I was like, they should put you in the main event. They should switch it. But the promoter was the champion, so he wanted to be the main event. Okay. So he goes, he kills the game like he always does, typical Lance Star. And when the match was over and the main event was about to start, everybody left. Everybody left. There was like maybe 10 people in there
Whoa.
because that's what they came for. Now, in a business sense, if the asses and seats are this man, I'm going to leave him last so they stay here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if I put you on any earlier than the main event, my crowd is going to leave. So now ain't nobody here to see me. So even though you're the champion, sometimes business first, whoever puts the most asses in the seats needs to be the main event.
So I can't help but to hear. It sounds like you got a little bit of a promoter's mind, so to speak. What's your? Go ahead.
Yeah. When I was younger, I used to book for a place that like we call it was XSU wrestling. Um I'm a writer and I'm a storyteller. So being able to tell my story and then seeing it play out is everything. Like it's awesome. Like I 100% know that at some point in the probably near future, probably gonna run my own company.
Okay,
Um,
that was gonna be my question.
yeah, like I want to run a company, and my brother and I are gonna start a wrestling school. Because like I said, I love giving back. I love helping people. Like, um, when I was starting out, and I was traveling, I was getting the good dates. I always brought people with me. I brought my younger brother with me. I brought friends with me who just needed who just need a little push. Like I try to help as many humans as humanly possible. And wrestling and life, whatever. I just feel like it's something that I get pleasure out of doing. You feel me? So, I feel like once everything falls into place, like I'm about to buy my wife and I are moving to Toledo, so we're like in a house buying process, and um so once that gets all settled, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be planting the seeds and starting a new company, and I'm doing it in Detroit. Like, I don't care if I live in Toledo. Like, it's happening in the city. Like, I hate it when people say they wrestle in Detroit and you're in Farmington Hills, or you wrestle in Detroit and you're, in Wyandotte. Like, nah, like I'm in the 313. Like, that's what bred me. Like I said, my brother and I, we literally in our heads put the city on our back when it's heavy to call yourself as a tag team a Spirit of Detroit. Like, what? Like, who does that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it goes so far because like it's not like it's awe inspiring. Like I said, we wrestled in Jamaica and to have strangers who never seen us wrestle before chanting Detroit all the way in Jamaica, bro. Like, that shit puts a tear to my eye. Like, for real. Like, knowing that we go out of our way to put a positive impact on what our city can be matters to me, because when everybody thinks of Detroit, murder midden,
Mm.
they only think negative, and it's just like it's convoluted. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's so retro, it's so backwards, and it's just like the city of Detroit is we're more than our crime. You feel me?
Mm.
And I feel like that's something that we bring to the table, and just from the culture, bro, and everything. Like, when I do my little in ring promos, I thought it was kind of cool personally. Like, you know, they always say the best talkers have like a tagline. Like Scott Hall, hey yo.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, like, whenever I would get in the ring and I would talk to people, especially outside of my city, I would start it off. I'd be like, yo, where I'm from, we don't say hi, we say what up, though. So when I say it, you say it. And then I would say what up, though. They say what up, though.
What
And I
up,
thought
though?
that was dope. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
thought that was dope. And and little stuff like that, like, really matters to me.
Yeah, man. So speaking of promos, man, about what was it, 3-4 weeks ago? I saw you cut this money ass promo where you said I'm no longer Cassidy Keith,
Yeah.
and you kind of hinted at that at the beginning of the show here.
Yeah.
Talk about that. That felt like, again, I'm a fan. That didn't feel like a character change for entertainment. That felt like a real peek behind the curtain. That felt like a pipe bomb,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
What was that?
Honestly, it kind of was. It was much needed. It was long overdue. And it was me. It was me holding myself back. And like I said, I framed it in the form of a promo, but like, I meant everything I said. And it's something that, starting out, like I said, man, like, when I was saying, hinted at the wrestling without shoes, like, when I started the conversation today, I said, I did what I had to do to get on, right? To get put on. And that's what I did. Like, I came in with my own gimmick. Like, I knew what I was gonna be. At the time, my name was Cassidy Kane. My boy and I tagged, and he was Adrian Abel, so we went as Kane and Abel. I thought
Okay.
it was dope. So when I started branching out on my own, I wanted to travel. I would go to shows, travel. I'd be at local shows, really, and just trying to get put on, bro. I'm like, yo, like, I'm out here, like, give me a shot. And I would be in the back, and they would do nothing with me. I'm just chilling. Um, and one of the promoters, I feel like it was a rib, which they did it to make fun of me, but they basically said, "Oh, I'll book you if you dress up like Kamala and wrestle." And I was like,
Mm.
I'm like, as a black man, I'm like, so you would only book me if I don't speak English? Like, I always call it the Ooga Booga man. That's like,
Mm.
and no disrespect to Kamala, but like, that's how that gimmick was given to him by uh Jerry Lawler. Like, that's neither here nor there. But
Nah, yeah, I get where you're
yeah.
going.
But you know what I'm saying? And but I did it, and I'm not ashamed of it. But at the same time, um, I'm glad it did what it did. Like I did it and I ran with it and I did it really well. Like I told myself if I was gonna do it, I'm gonna make it my own. So I'm not just like a blatant fucking ripoff. And we're going to do some good with this. We're gonna go somewhere with it. And I did, bro. Like the character was name was Terror Khan. And I wrestled without shoes on. I went to what is that called, Joanne Fabrics, and made myself a loincloth. Couldn't sew for shit. Um, like and I changed it up. Like I did like war paint on my face. Like, and I would do different types of paint and stuff like that. And my character, like I made like a character was basically like this African, like, or Tanzanian is what I said. It's Tanzanian, like um
It sounds like a black version of Umaga.
yeah, basically it was way more Umaga than it was Kamala. But they saw a fat black guy, so they thought Kamala. Um so it was basically like what would happen if you get this dude that's from the savage of Tanzania, put him in a box, took that box to America, put it in a wrestling ring, and opened up that box. What happens? You know what I'm saying? So like I would literally play it, and I would even do shit like I thought it was different. I thought it was dope because like the story, like I said, it was all about the story for me,
Right.
and I couldn't do a lot of story work when I couldn't speak. But I did little shit like I would do like a real big impactful move, and I would go to pin them, and I'd pin them the wrong way, like they'd be on their stomach, and I'd be pinning them on the back, and I'd have to be like, no, you can't do that. Flip them over. I'm like, oh, okay. So I roll them to their back, and then I keep rolling them back, and then put them back on their stomach and try to pin them again. Because like he's not a wrestler, he don't understand. You know what I'm saying? So I always thought it was different. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to like really like do some stuff. Like they put me in the ring with Hall of Famers and legends, and I was the person who I wrestled. Jesus Christ. I think I ended up wrestling Bushwhacker Luke like the week before he got in the Hall of Fame.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, and it was like it was crazy. Like I was like traveling everywhere. They even like had me like wrestle Kamala Jr. Like it was a whole thing. And like I've gotten like they had me like I was a viable contender for the NWA, whatever their, not their world title, but their I can't remember, national title.
Okay.
Like this is before NWA came back and was hot. And they were just like kind of a name. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
But yeah, like I went pretty decent, pretty far with it. And when I ended up moving to Alabama for work, and I decided that I was done. I'm not going to do it anymore. Nobody knows me in Alabama, so I'm going to start over from scratch, and I'm going to work my ass off, and I'm going to do it my way. I was able to do that. Like this this company in Alabama took a chance on me. They were not Alabama is Alabama. And that's the best way to put it. And like I remember my very first match, like the dude that I wrestled, like had them bring like KFC buckets like during my match. Like it's crazy. Like I have some stories because like they still believe in kayfabe down there.
No.
So like I had people like death threats. Like I used to have security like escort me to my car. It was crazy. But like I did it, right? And I became not only like their first black champion, I became their first world champion. And because I was doing some different shit, bro. Like they just had never seen it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, like what is happening? And I was telling the stories I wanted to tell, but like I was like, all right, I'm ready to go home. You know what I'm saying? So I came home and I'm so happy. And I'm like, all right, let me go find all my old promoter friends, the ones that I traveled all over with. Yo, I'm back. I got this dope gimmick, like making Terracon look like trash, bro. Like I got this. Let's do this. And they were like, that's cool. Have a good day. Like nobody fucked with me. I had to start completely over again. Like they were like, if you're not the Ooga Booga man, we don't care. And I was like, oh, okay. So everything happens for a reason, though, because had that not happened, I don't know if I'd even still be wrestling. I don't know where I'd be. Because through me starting over is how my brother and I started tagging. We were supposed to work each other in Toledo or something like that. They booked too many people and they were like, do y'all mind tagging? My younger brother, Jonte Keith, one of the best wrestlers in the world, bro. I swear to God. If you've never seen Jonte Keith, JONTAEKIEH, this little motherfucker is one of the best wrestlers in the world. I swear to God. And I don't just say that. Like, he does everything that I do and then some. And it's a blessing because I was able to train him. So, like, I'm happy by seeing him evolve, you know? Right. But yeah, so we were supposed to work, and they were like, "Well, we booked too many people, so either y'all don't wrestle or will you tag?" And we had never tagged before, you know. Like I said, I trained him. I'm 5 years older than him. I was like, "No, I don't tag with," like, you know. And my brother was still, you know, finding himself, and he was like, "Fuck it, let's do it. Why not?" And it was so organic that it was just like, "Why the fuck didn't we do this years ago, bro?"
Wow. Yeah.
And it blew up. It blew up. Like this was before Spirit of Detroit. Our original name was Detroit versus Everybody.
Okay.
Before it got fucking huge. And then like we stopped doing it because it got huge, and I was like, well, if y'all not gonna pay us for a sponsorship, then fuck that. I'm not gonna give you free press. Like, you know what I'm saying? So but yeah, bro, like it kind of grew from there, and it became something that I had to, and I was having so much fun doing it, right? But it still wasn't me. It, you know, it was the version of me that I needed people to become, that, you know, I knew people would be okay with. And I feel like after 16 years of doing this, if I can't be myself, I shouldn't do it. And I've been like, for my brother, he stopped wrestling. Nobody ever stops wrestling. So he claims that he's done, but he'll be back within a year probably. He's had a lot of injuries, so like, you know, I'm like, bro, he's, you know, like the high flying daredevil type. So a lot of that shit, you know, he had like a bad shoulder for years, and he listened to me finally, got him a job, got him good insurance, and now he's like rehabbing his body, taking care of himself because he's starting to feel it. He's gonna be 30 next year, so he's starting to feel it.
Yeah, man.
So basically, while he took that time off, man, the same shit started happening. People stopped calling me because I wasn't a part of a duo anymore. I wasn't Spirit of Detroit anymore. And I was like, fuck, like, I've been doing this 16 years. I've trained people. I know what I'm doing. I know I'm fucking good. Like, what is the issue? And I was like, maybe it's you, Joe. Maybe it's you. Like, maybe it's something that they can sense that disingenuousness. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's something that I always tell people, especially when you're cutting promos, most fans can spot bullshit. If you don't believe what you're saying, like, they can usually tell.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And even though I was good at promos, I didn't believe it because it wasn't me. And I feel like maybe 6 months ago, I started, not even 6 months ago, I'd say like 4 months ago, I started sowing the seeds where I wanted to do it, but like I was still kind of scared. So like my promo game was getting better and people were noticing it. And they're like, what's going on, bro? Like, you getting like extra hot. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, like, it's honestly just like starting to understand who I am. And I feel like I'm one of the most humble people in the world, and by saying it, but like knowing how good you are is not a problem. There's nothing wrong with knowing that you are talented in what you do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I feel like I had to remember who the fuck I was. I had to tell people that I am much more than just Jonte's brother. I had to go out there and show them and remind them who I was, and I couldn't do that not being who I was. So I decided to take that chance on myself, switch my name up with my government, bro, and it's been really liberating. It's been really liberating to just go out there and like I remember like hearing my name uh being announced in a match, and it was crazy to me. It was surreal. Like it felt like my first match ever. Even though I've been doing this 16 years, bro. So it's been really cathartic. It's been really evolutionary, and it's been well needed.
You know, it's so funny to hear you say that because it's so relative on a few things. One, you know, if we stay strictly in the lane of wrestling, you know, if you listen to people talk, you know, outside of kayfabe, outside of their characters, you know, they say that this Roman Reigns, this version of Roman Reigns' character, this is more like the real him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, anybody who's a wrestling fan will know that for the last 8 years, they've been really pushing Roman Reigns hard. It's like this guy is going to be the next guy, and
Yeah.
people were by and large rejecting him. But the last 2 years, after you know he went away because of COVID, he came back and he's
Mm-hmm.
been money for you know for
Absolutely.
2 years. So from a you know wrestling perspective, you know that's relative. But everything that you're saying is also relative to life because what you're talking about is these things aren't going. You're talking about something not going in the way that you want it to go or in the way that you feel it needs to go, and saying that it's because I'm not being true to myself. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing this and it's doing good, but it's just not who I really am. And ultimately, that's just how life works in general. If you can't fully embrace the things that you're into,
Mm-hmm.
you'll never be 100% into it, no matter what. And if that means that your mind isn't open, or if that means that you're just in the wrong position with wherever you are in your life, you got to figure that stuff out. But it's
Yeah.
just so funny how you know it's wrestling, and there's going to be somebody that listens to this and goes, I can't believe Bradley got me to listen to a whole another 60 plus minutes of wrestling. But it's beyond just two dudes in underwear slapping skin. This
Absolutely.
is like we're talking about real life stuff. Make sure you got a backup plan in case your dreams don't fully work out into the capacity that you want. Make sure you got a backup plan that you can solidly depend on, because chances are high that you're going to be rich, right? You could have the best talent. We all know somebody that's an amazing singer, that's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing rapper, that's an amazing artist that just hasn't gotten in front of the right person or the
Yeah.
right set of people. Like we all know that, right? So everything that you've said over this last hour plus, it's all relative to real life. So, man, this was dope. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I appreciate you for having me.
Man, tell our listeners where they can find you, where they can see you, all of that, socials, what's your next booking, all of that.
Yeah, man.
Mm.
I
So
got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. So as far as the booking situation is concerned, find me on Facebook. Joseph Ira Credit. That's IRA Credit, like credit card. That's the name my mama named me. Um, you can find me on there. I'm also on everything, bro. Like Twitter, Instagram, all that is the ad is Joseph Ira Credit, one word. Um all one word, not one word after it. Don't think too hard about it. Uh so you can find me on there, bro. Add me, bro. Like I'm not weird. Like I add everybody. Like I feel like social media is meant to be social. I'm not one of those type of people that's like secretive about my life. I'm very much an open and honest person. Like I feel like life is too short to lie. I feel like it does something to your spirit. So like I'm very blunt, but like I'm not a dick about it. You know what I'm saying? So like feel free, man. Like add me, talk to me. I'm personable as long as you're not dumb and taking up all my space. my time. I have no problem chopping it up with people. So you'll always see me on social media talking about the next time I'm working. Um, or any of the things I do as far as like, I do like I run Backbreaker Creations. So basically started off as like a t-shirt business because everything I do is like a one-stop shop because I got tired of other people doing it for me or waiting for other people doing it. So like I started making my own t-shirts, and then I started making my own wrestling gear, and then I taught myself how to do Photoshop. So like I edit my photos and take my own photos. Like my promo picture I gave you, I took that in my living room. You know what I'm saying? So like all types of stuff. Like I do like 3D printing stuff now. Like I'm cosplaying. I love cosplay. I just started getting into it, bro. And I do a little bit of everything, bro. Like I can't sit still. So you're gonna see me doing something, man.
That's dope. That's dope. So for the listeners, I'll have social media information in the show notes. You can also follow Fred, although he's not here. Don't give him a hard time. Life just happens. Fred is Mr.Humble_beginnings on Instagram. He is Fred Scott on Facebook. You can follow me at Brad Robinson 1986 on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And it's just Brad Robinson 86 on Twitter. And of course, follow the show at What's Hatnin, the way it's spelled, WHUSHATTNIN. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. I had to figure out which ones I was missing. Follow our show. Share this episode out with a friend, with a bunch of friends. If you like what we do, give us a 5-star rating and write a review as well. Love is a verb, so make sure you remember that. And that is all we got. Thank you once again, Joe. Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
This is dope. And we will see y'all next week. And if Fred was here, he'd say, peace.